success does equal money, because it's not the only measure of success, but it is, as I said, the only one anybody keeps track of. Money can provide everything except health and love, and believe me, it enhances those two alternatives as well. I'm sure we have some former placard carriers in the audience, and I'm going to tell a little story. A number of years ago, before apartheid was stopped in South Africa, I was going into the U.S. Embassy with a friend of mine, and he said, I've seen some of these people carrying placards around out in front of the embassy, and I've seen them grow middle-aged. I've seen them go from adolescence to their 30s and 40s. And I said, well, don't you get tired of driving through these same placard carriers day after day, John? He said, no, thank God they carry placards, Dan, because then we have nothing to worry about, because they don't do anything. Well, some of those people, God willing, Allah willing, whatever, became high-performance people and now are doing something about apartheid, and apartheid's ended. We are going to talk about you not being a placard carrier anymore, but actually being a person that takes action. There are no high-performance, touchy-feely people. There just aren't any. Now, we hear about them, you read about them, but I've never met one. Maybe in your lifetime you'll meet one. Well, I'm 54 years old, and I'm still looking for one. Maybe one of you will prove me wrong. Please, my email is danpena.com. Drop me a line if you can find one. Seek and destroy. That's the way it should be, but now it's become a fellowship, hugging each other. This ain't a warm and fuzzy thing. The rules used to be simple. You lose, you die. This was a commentator on the fifth big network in America. On the way here, my cab driver said, this is a guy that will give the Americans a run for his money. And I said, well, who lives there? He says, Richard Branson. I said, yeah. And I said, yeah. And he says, Bill Gates is buying a house right down the street from him, which I didn't know either. And he told me, he says, where are you going? And I told him the Renaissance. He said, oh, I brought a ride in here last night. I said, yeah? He said, yeah. A British businessman, entrepreneur, is going to get battered by an American tomorrow, or today. I said, yeah? He said, what do you mean? He says, yeah, he's going to get a bollocking from some American to tell him what a weak four-letter word he is. And I said, well, I'm that American. He said, really? And then he kept on talking and telling me about his dad who bought one pub and then two pubs and three pubs and four pubs, etc. And now he owns 19 pubs. He sold it to White Bread, I think he told me. And but he's driving a cab. So I had to ask the question, why are you driving a cab? Oh, he says, well, I inherit all that money. I like to talk to people all day. I said, well, that's wonderful. I'm sure it makes your father proud. They train with the intensity of war. That's why war has little effect on them. Roman Legion commander, circa 200 BC. High-performance people practice. They practice being high-performance people, and as we get on to the presentation later on today, you are who you hang around with, and that's how you'll be measured. And if you hang around with non-high-performance people, guess what? And if you think money can't buy happiness, you don't know where to shop. You don't want to be broke in the first 2 decades in the new millennium, believe me. Believe it. I mean, you don't want to be broke anytime. But you are now part of the largest buying unit on the planet, about 365 million people. Competition is going to be extraordinary in the new millennium. Hopefully. This is your wake-up call.